Hey y'all, welcome to the Moving with Millennials podcast with your favorite millennial realtors.
We are 4 top producing agents in the DFW area, and we are ready to share the good, bad, and the real life of real estate.
Whether you're thinking about getting into real estate, already an agent, or just curious about what your agent really does, join us.
Tune in every Wednesday to see what it's really like to be on this side of the transaction.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Moving with Millennials. This week we are talking about, or we're calling this one the roller coaster of real estate, as you all know. Real
I feel
estate.
like we need like a sound effect, like
yeah.
Or the screaming.
Yeah. It is an absolute roller coaster. So we're just gonna debrief and vent and all the things.
Yeah, so like the emotional roller coaster and then business is a roller coaster.
Yeah, pipeline roller coaster.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we have to mention that Brandie is not with us, so she's not being silent if you're just listening to the podcast. She is just not here
today. Speaking of the roller coaster of real estate.
She's juggling like the 45 other
She's
things
in the life of roller coaster
she
right
really
now.
is.
With football season.
Yeah,
So.
I think right now she is at least halfway to Florida to check on the house and get it all done.
Wow.
I don't think it was really affected by the hurricane.
Different
but
area,
they
I think
still need to
further
like
south.
reset or like at the end of the season for Airbnb, I guess there's like a lot of things to do for it.
Yeah,
so,
to make sure.
For sure.
Shout out, hopefully she's listening to this on the way back.
Yeah. She better be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about, so I guess the emotion part of it, we'll probably like talk about it throughout this episode. We really we didn't come with any notes. Like we're like, let's just talk about it because like the other day we were talking about how our business is really in a roller coaster right now. So if you are a real estate agent in this market, you're realizing that the market's just not as up as we are used to. If anything else, it's really just this roller coaster. So it's up sometimes, it's down sometimes, and it's back up sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's really just funny how literally real estate, your business can change like overnight.
In a second. Yeah. And I feel like this all the time. Like there's some meme out there that's like one day you feel like completely unemployed and then other days you're like you can't breathe because you're so busy.
Yeah.
But like I feel like even when the market was hot, like I'd have days like that where it's like, what am I doing today? You know, I could literally have a wide open schedule, and then other days it's just like I'm trying to juggle 55 other things. But it's hard because it can change like
for sure
in a blink.
Yeah, and I think it's important to also point out, like you guys have been in the business now 3 years, right? Am I making that up?
Oh my gosh,
3?
Yeah, we just scrolled over.
Remind me to tell you something about the sales meeting day about our anniversary.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, did it get announced or not?
Yes, it was announced for August.
Our office doesn't remember when we still.
Well, and it's funny you said that because like my anniversary didn't get up on the board either, and I was like,
that was us 2 years ago.
Yeah, our like 1 year was like announced like
in
5 months after. Yeah, 5 months after our actual.
I'm pretty sure mine was too.
Yeah, because we all roll over in October, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you guys have been in business 3 years. I've been in business now 9 years, which is crazy. And I point that out because it doesn't matter how long you've been in this business. I mean, I know agents have been in the business 20 years plus, and they still talk about this roller coaster of business. I mean, I remember day one going in through Ignite, like the class that you go through when you're a brand new agent, and they literally drew on the board like this little line that showed like this roller coaster. Because we know real estate's 90 days out. So even at the beginning of when you get your license from day one, you're really not going to have any business, right off the bat. Everything that we're doing today is really for 90 days out.
Right.
And then during that time, as you're working on all this business and you get busy, you forget that there's this one thing that you should be doing, which is lead generation and finding new business. So once you close that business you've been working on, you're not back down at the bottom of the roller coaster.
Right.
And so, but it just happens. I think we get busy. You want to obviously take care of your clients as much as possible. And then just with the market too, it just happens. So, but
sure.
I think, I mean, you still have to focus on your pipeline, and it's really hard to do that. Like when I think right now we're feeling the effects. We're about 90 days out from like the end of the crazy busy market. And on that, we were mainly working mostly referrals, likely, and business. I mean, we were busy, so we weren't really focusing on lead generation. So now that we are about 3 months out from like kind of when it shifted, we're feeling the effects of like, the referrals have definitely slowed down because that's just natural. The market's not, as favorable for buyers maybe right now. I mean, for sellers right now, which drives inventory, which then, is, kind of driving the business. So I think we're feeling the effects of that shift now, three months later.
Yeah, I know COVID kind of changed a lot of the things, but do y'all feel like there's an annual, like during the summer months, you guys are busier than?
Mine is I was just about to say, like, October, November, the last 3 years have been like my
best
and
months?
even December
really
last year,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had 6, and I was selling my house. I was literally dying.
I'm the opposite of her. I definitely slowed down October, November, December.
That's funny. I pick up my best months have always been October as well, which is great because that's when I do CAP.
Yes, I know, and it helps
And I
with like start over.
I think
sure.
my best month was last year in October. Yeah. And I just look at because we can kind of track what we do business, and October is always the best months.
I think mine were November, December, but like they rack up in October.
Yeah.
Like contract wise, close November.
Yeah.
Right.
But June, the last couple of years have been pretty good, but summer I wouldn't say is like my
hot months. Yeah. So you stay pretty steady still throughout like the year.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is like a difference in our sphere, like who we work with, like
You
who is
work
in
with
our
a
sphere.
lot of teachers.
Yeah. And like
that's it.
first time, well, all of my transactions end of last year were like sellers needing to relocate. It just happened that way.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I
I don't
definitely
know.
am like busier. I would say like late spring, early summer is like my busiest, but I stay busy throughout the summer. I'd say.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
It's
consistent.
like consistent, but not necessarily like, I don't know what you would think. Because the market is typically like hotter in the summer.
Yeah.
I've never had like an overload.
Right, like
So,
too much, and it's great because I always think about like what's the most transactions I've done at one time. I probably would say like on the high end would be about 8 at a like going on at a single time. That's quite a bit, like 8 at the same time, like juggling that, and not just juggling like those 8 transactions, but also juggling like the stuff coming up too, like all the clients that are either looking or talking about selling, that kind of thing. So it's not like you just have that going on even, but that's what happened to me this year. As soon as I got back out of maternity leave, I felt like I went under contract. I mean, since I've been off maternity leave, which has been like less than a month. Well, no, wait, what is it? October? It's been a month. Okay, it's been a month. I've put 8 things under contract, and I was like, wow. But after this next week, I'm like, okay, wait, I have 2 listings possibly coming. Well, 1 for sure coming up, maybe another, and then no buyers really looking. So I see where I'm at that bottom of that roller coaster. But I'm also appreciative of that. Like, I like being at the bottom of the roller coaster sometimes. Because
I've learned to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's good for the mental.
It's good mental. It's also a good time. I'm realizing, like, I even want to go and clean up some of, like, my email templates. Like, work in the business on the business.
Do the stuff that you don't really prioritize.
Time to do that.
Absolutely.
I learned that, like, because, like you were saying, like, 8 transactions. Like, May was, like, the craziest I've ever... I had 8 closings, but I had, like, 12 under contract at once. And then June was, like, a consistent. But I learned, like, I was kind of freaking out, like, okay, I don't have anything coming up in July. But, like, that was the shift that I, like, needed. Or...
The slowdown that you
like... Because
To
I was
refresh
literally
yourself.
not okay.
Yeah.
You realize what your limit
Yeah,
really
for
is.
sure. And at the time, I had a full-time admin, and I was still, like, I don't know what, I was, like, blacked out.
Yeah. I think
It was a blur.
I think I was a little bit before you, because mine was, like, February, March, so I had 6 or 7
I remember.
under contract at the same time, and I was, like, literally, like, I need one of these to close early, like, I need something to move up, or I need, like, something has got to give, because they were literally, they all went under contract within, like, 10 days of each other.
And that's always such a cluster.
So then they're all going through option at the same time, they're all going through financing at the same time, they're all going through clear to close at the same time, so it's just, like, especially when they line up that way and you're managing all the same steps at the same time, it's so difficult.
It's hard, especially during the option period when they're all very close together. Because like
They
that
need
is
a
the
lot of attention
craziest
at the
part
beginning.
of a transaction. Or not craziest, but it's like there's so many moving parts.
That's when they need you the most to get going. Yeah, for sure. After they go to look.
Yeah, so I'm like you, both of you really. It's like enjoy the down because that's like your time to breathe and get the other things done that you can't otherwise focus on. Because when it's up and you're fully at the top, it is that scary moment of like, can I handle this?
Yeah,
right now?
I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to shred my license.
Yeah, which I feel like is
been...
kind of like at the top of the roller coaster. It's like right before you go down, you're like, oh my God, am I going to like
so
make it down?
Yeah,
it's like,
that is very true.
Yeah, you're like,
because you like that is really actually the best analogy ever because like once you take on a new client, you're like, well, I'm stuck with this client because it's like going up the roller coaster. You're kind of like, I can't, get off the roller coaster now.
Yeah. I know, but you need that down to like for the business to be sustainable. Because if you just were up all the time, like I would not be able to.
That is really true. Yeah.
Long term.
That's actually like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right. That's actually a really. That was right.
Like mental.
Yeah.
There are some days where I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We just have to laugh to be able to say same.
Laugh to keep from crying.
Right?
Yeah.
That's actually really a light bulb that you guys just brought into my head because I talked about like at the beginning of when we first get into real estate, they talk about this real estate roller coaster as if it's not a good thing. Like you don't want to be on this roller coaster.
It's actually a good thing.
But it's actually nice, to have those breathers too, where,
And I remember we were talking to Jan Webb, like, last year, and she was like, enjoy the lull.
She said it's about the best.
And I was like, how do you do that, though? Like, but you gotta, like, I don't know, I have to learn the hard way. Like, people can tell me that all day long, but
until you
I
get
think
there.
I realized that this June.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that exact conversation because she was saying it to both of us.
Yeah, and I remember, like, being like,
wait, enjoy not being busy?
Yeah.
What is that like? What does that feel like?
Yeah, for sure.
And it is hard because, it is hard when you're not busy. We get stressed on like, well, where's my next paycheck coming from?
That fear kicks in.
Right.
I feel like that's the thing you have to keep under control, mostly because then a lot of people, fear makes them shut down. And that's only going to make your situation worse.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's keeping your fear in check.
Yeah, and I don't...
It just changes so quickly. So I try to like remind myself like, it'll change.
Yeah, you can go from having nothing to then all of a sudden like you get 2 referrals or 2 people reach out on social media or something. It's like and
when it
like,
rains,
great.
it pours kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. And I think we talk about that a lot where we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where my next, what my next transaction, where that's coming from or anything else. And then like 2 texts later, like, oh my gosh, like I just got 3 calls and all want to sell like in the next month. Yeah. And I'm like, you get overwhelmed then all of a sudden thinking I have all this business coming in. So, and I don't know if it's like, I've always been impressed, like, throughout the years, like, watching my business and how, it does go through the roller coasters. I don't know if it's, like, the real estate gods are, like, protecting me, but it's really kind of interesting how, like, people don't want to always buy at the same time. Like, my sphere, it's like I almost have this consistency in business.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I talk about, like, 8 transactions. I want to say the most, I don't know, I've probably done a little more than 8, like, under contract at a time. But it's impressive, that it's not like everyone wants to sell or buy at this time. Like I can actually close out people and then have more business in the future. And it's like it's a consistency still. Yeah.
To be balanced out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's from being in the business for so long. It's like your sphere gets so much larger that like it's such a large pool of people.
Right.
That they're not obviously going to all buy and sell at the same time. So that's good. Sure.
Well, and I guess I just, in my
depth
mind...
of field, I think is what that's like.
Yeah. I guess in my mind, I would think, like, well, everybody wants to buy at the beginning, or sell in springtime or the summertime. But no, not really. Yeah. There are people that really want different times of the year, too.
Yeah. Or they have situations
come up.
Relocate jobs, divorce.
Exactly.
Or the people that they buy and then, like, something happens in life and they immediately have to turn around and sell, like, a little bit later. It's like... You just never know what life is going to throw at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
definitely.
On the emotional side, we already talked about fear. I think, like it can definitely, you can feel so excited because you're doing so well and everything. You're like, okay, like great, this transaction is going so smoothly.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, appraisal came back and it's messed up or
kills
whatever, or you get an agent on the other side that is just like a total pain to work with. So it's like those things can like it just like on the where's my business going to come from, it can like reverse the same way of like everything was going great and now I'm like dealing with like such a headache.
So instead of this roller coaster going up and down, sometimes there's like these loops.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the time.
Or that weird jerk where like turns you like one side or the other and you're like, I didn't really need that.
Take my breath away there for a second. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And it is true. And I think each transaction kind of comes with like emotional roller coasters because especially like sellers. Sellers get way more emotional, I think, about transactions sometimes than buyers do. Really both. It really just depends.
Depends on
the
person.
like you get a buyer that's like, they're so excited about buying and they meet with you and you're like excited to help them and all the things. Well, then the showings start and you go to see houses. Oh, well, you know, I'm a little disappointed that I'm not quite seeing what I'm looking for, you know, or what I like. So then your roller coaster is down with emotions. And then all of a sudden they find the perfect house and they're like so excited. We make the offer. Oh, wait, there's 10 other offers on this house.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
So then you have to be that person that's also like managing that roller coaster of emotions.
Right. Being the cheerleader, being the, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's just like that transaction. And then, like you said, we get under contract and emotions are up and they're excited again. But then inspection comes.
Negotiations.
And then the appraisal comes. And then it's like constant, like all the way up until closing.
Yeah, for sure. So many emotional pieces. Yeah. And like we have to like stay, you know, like, I don't know. We're feeling inside.
We're expected to be so level-headed through it all.
And I feel like we all do a pretty good job. Like behind the scenes, like we're all presenting, but like, I don't know. It's
and I think that's important too, because I do remember specifically I had one client a couple years ago. They like at the end of the transaction, they were like, hey, we just wanted to say thank you for staying really level-headed. Like, you know, at first when we brought up this issue, it seemed like you didn't really care about the issue, and it kind of like was off-putting to us. And then all of a sudden we realized, like, wait a minute, we're being over emotional. You're doing your job and you're keeping us level-headed. And so we just appreciated that you stayed level-headed with that situation, because we were super stressed out. And I said, oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. I said, at any point, like, I didn't think, you know, I wasn't trying to be like, I didn't care about the situation. I just in the background, I was probably freaking out about it, right? And probably texting you guys like, oh my gosh. Right. But, you know, if I panic to my clients and I'm in panic mode, they're going to panic more. Yeah. And then we're going to think irrationally. And then, you know, something's going to not turn out right. Well, guess what? It turned out just fine. Everyone was happy. They got plenty of money at the end of the closing table. Yeah. So it's just like, you have to learn to, for sure.
Emotions are only going to complicate a transaction.
Yes.
I mean, honestly.
You kind of have to pull some of the emotion out of it. Yeah.
I'm, and I'm not highly emotional anyway. So I feel like that's one of the things that is easier for me is kind of like filtering that out. However, like I can filter out for clients, and then in my head or like texting you guys, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, not freaking out, but usually it's like more of like the frustration of like,
you need to get it out.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want to say X, Y, and Z to the other portion of, whatever it is. I'm like, if I could just say this, I'd feel so much better.
Yeah. Which is great. We can like be that sounding board for each other. And then so if you're a real estate agent, like find your sounding board of like someone that you can vent to that's in the business. First of all, I try to like vent to Brian about some of these things. Do not ever vent to someone outside of real estate and your significant other. They just don't understand. His solution will be like, well, why don't you do? And I'm like, because it doesn't work that way.
Exactly. I know. And I feel like a lot of the time, like on social media, people are like, oh, you make it look so easy. It's like, well, I mean, that's a compliment, but it's like, it's not easy. Like, we're doing a million things behind the scenes that...
Yeah. I'll have friends or a significant other that would say, like, oh, like, they'll find another house when we would, like, lose out on one. I'm like, I know they will, but they are upset, and then I'm, like, feeling the pressure, the heat of them being upset. So it's like, my job is to get them closed, basically. It's like, if I'm not making that happen, I'm not, like, meeting expectations, I'm not hitting goals, like... That's where my stress would come through. But just like hearing someone say like they'll find another house would be like the one thing I'm like, that grates on my nerves. Yeah. That's like when someone's upset and you're like, it'll all be okay. It's like, you don't know that.
Exactly.
Linda.
Just shut your mouth. Exactly. And it was even harder when like inventory was so low and like you worked so hard to get this buyer under contract, like millions of homes, millions of offers. And so like when they would have to like terminate or fall through, like that's what would like really be hard. Like,
yeah, so true. What other roller coasters are there? I feel like we talked about the emotional roller coaster of each transaction, the roller coaster of clients, the business is being its own roller coaster. I don't know. I
mean, I think I guess like the other part would be maybe just like your relationship with other agents. Sometimes that can be, definitely an up and down, or even like relationships, like if you haven't found the right brokerage. So it's like, I know Brandie's not here to talk about it, but she was at an office that wasn't great for her. But I'm sure like when she started at the office, I'm sure she was excited to start there and super, pumped. And then it didn't go well. And then she found a good office. So it's like, I'm sure that's probably, if you're an agent listening and you feel like maybe you have more problems on that side of the business, like just really take the time and find the right office.
Yeah.
I think that's super important too.
For sure.
That can, if you're not in the right space, that's definitely going to be chaos for your life.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just like not only juggling like business and clients, but like social media, recording videos. It's like we do all of the, you have to like do all these things to like
juggling at the same time.
Maintain our business.
Since we're talking about, or we brought up like almost embracing the roller coaster of real estate, like even the lull parts of it. Gosh, I just had a point and I lost it.
Enjoy the personal time.
Yeah. That was it. All these, like, we get these Facebook ads all the time, or we get these coaching ads all the time, things like that. And they're always talking about, like, we have like the one Keller Williams event that's coming up that they do every year. Yeah. It's always about triple your business or like 8 times your business and all this. And it's like,
do I really want to do that?
Do I really need to do that?
And it's like tripling your business in 1 year. Is that even healthy for you?
Right.
It's like, I absolutely want to increase my business year over year.
Always.
But I want it to be at an increment that is sustainable,
manageable.
Sustainable for sure. But even like year over year, you continue in business. Say we're in real estate for like I said, like I've been now 9 years. If I were to have gone from year one and doubled my business from year one, each year double, I'd be like insane. Yeah. And then I think about it, I'm like, do I actually I felt like there was this pressure to do like 200 transactions a year, and then I'd be successful. You know what I mean? Like but it's like we're fed into this like this more mentality of like, you got to do more business, you got to have more clients, you have to do, close, and I'm like, dude, I did a pretty decent amount of business last year, and I made a decent amount of money. Like, do I really think I need to like triple that?
I know.
But I almost feel like I didn't succeed last year because I didn't triple my business, you know? And I'm like, what the heck?
I think it's important to know, like, what is the number that you need to hit to survive, and then what is the number that you want to hit, and then if you like consistent. Making that want, if you're hitting that, then it's like you're successful as long as you're hitting what you want. I think that's the thing, is like you said, like those are exterior expectations that are kind of put on us or preached to us. But it's like, like I hit my goal in May or June, and then I hit my stretch goal like a month later. So I'm like, you know what? If I have a slower end of the year, I hit my goals.
Yeah, I'm
like, I hit my goals. I've made more than I need to survive. Like, I'm okay. Like,
I know.
It's fine.
And when we recorded our goals last year, at the end of last year, and I was like, I don't want to double, like, my goal was 10 million last year, and I made it or whatever, and I was like, I'd be happy with another 10 million, which I am. Like, I've hit, or I will hit that, and I'll do a little better than last year, or as of right now. But it's like, I'm okay with that. Like, as long as I do better than the year before. But even then, it of course, because this year for me, I'm not going to do better than I did last year, just because
just because you were pregnant or
I basically had and now this other life to worry about. But no,
they survive on their own pretty early.
Well, and you had that goal, like your goal was to
Well, I think because this year is that year for me where I'm having to almost take a step back and realize that work isn't the most important thing in my life. She and my family are. Hopefully. Sure. But it's like, I'm realizing or coming into this aha of I don't have to do this amount of business. Like, I need, like you said, there's a minimum goal of what I need in order to survive or what I want to maintain lifestyle, right? Anything over that's extra. And maybe I do have a stretch goal where it's this would be nice. But being able to fluctuate through year over year or each year and change that and be able to kind of create your own roller coaster of real estate throughout the year or each year is also important. So,
for sure.
I like it. Well, anyways, thank you for joining us on the roller coaster.
It was probably a roller coaster of a conversation with how we were all over the place.
Without screaming too much.
I know. Absolutely. These are some of my favorite episodes when it's just
brainstorming.
Just conversational.
Well, and this is literally why we started this podcast. We are literally, we talked about it in another one where we're kind of in therapy when we talk to each other. 100%. And so we're deloading. And hopefully you guys can relate to us and also give your feedback on your roller coasters too.
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay, see y'all next week.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye.